Let us now settle into a spirit of worship with a moment of quiet to be followed by the music of Ola Yelo, First Light.
Check. We light this chalice as a flame of imagination and courage. May its light remind us that even the smallest flame can warm the hard, cold ground. In a world that prizes conformity, we gather to be contrary, to plant seeds of compassion where cruelty has taken root, to water truth where fear has dried the soil. Let this flame be our vow, to keep tending the garden of justice, even when the season feels cold.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Worcester, a congregation of love, hope, and justice, inspiring people to take on the challenges of a changing world. My name is Andrew Wilkin, and I am one of your worship associates this morning. We begin by acknowledging that in Worcester, Massachusetts, we work, learn, live, and worship on the seized ancestral homeland of the Nipmuc people who thrive and remain active as the Nipmuc tribe. If you would like to learn more about the Nipmuc community, please see the brochure in our foyer. We offer a special welcome to those of you who are new or visiting with us for the first time this morning. We are delighted that you are here. We hope that you will join us in Fellowship Hall following the service for refreshments and conversation. If you have questions or desire more information about this service or any of the ministries and programs of this congregation, please do not hesitate to ask. We invite you to fill out one of the cards found in the pews. These cards can be placed in the offering plate or given to one of the ushers or greeters this morning. For those of you joining us online this morning, we offer you a very special welcome. For safety purposes and so we might come to know you better as you are able, please place your name on your video feed. Please take a moment to sign one of the attendance clipboards that are now being circulated. Though you are not obligated to sign, we appreciate your information and will use it only for church purposes. During the service, we offer an opportunity to share a brief personal joy or sorrow. If you would like yours to be read aloud by the minister, please print it on an index card in the pew and drop it in the collection plate when it comes around. These cards will also be posted outside the minister's office to be shared with our friends at other services. For those online, you can place a joy or sorrow in the chat, and we will share it during this time in our service. In the foyer, there are listening devices, large print service programs, and hymnals for those who may find that their assistance beneficial. Please see one of our ushers who will be pleased to assist you. I invite you now to turn your technology to worship mode. Finally, please note the announcements on the back of your program. There will be time for short verbal announcements following the postlude. We are glad that you are here and hope that this morning is an opportunity for rest, reflection, and rejuvenation. The opening words are a call to cultivate. The nursery rhyme asks, "How does your garden grow?" History tells us that this garden in question was one of power and punishment, a reflection of the tyranny dressed in silver bells and cockle shells. But today we ask a different question. What if the rhyme is not a record of cruelty, but a summons to creativity? What if being contrary is holy work, the courage to imagine a world where the garden grows in defiance of domination? We gather as gardeners of the Spirit to dig beneath the surface of history, to expose the roots of oppression, and to sow the seeds of renewal. In this hour, may we find faith to cultivate resistance and the tenderness to nurture hope.
This time I would like to invite you to turn to your order of service insert for the lyrics for our opening hymn, and our Garden On team, I believe, is coming forward to lead us in a raucous version of the Garden Song by David Millett. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. warm them from below till the rains come tumbling down. Pulling woods and picking stones, man that's made of dream and bones. Feel the need to grow my own, 'cause the time is close at hand. Grain for grain and sun and rain, find my way in nature's chain. To my body and my brain, to the music of the land. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rains come tumbling down. Plant your rows straight and long, temper them with prayer and song. Mother Earth will keep you strong if you keep her love and care. An old grove from his perch in yonder tree, and I'm as free as a feathered thief up there. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone plants these seeds I sow. Someone gnaw them down below till the rains come tumbling down.
Please be seated. I want to invite our basket bearers forward at this time. Our weekly opportunity for those in our religious exploration program to collect change for change. This is an ongoing ministry of the religious exploration program to help continue to fund our emergency fund of the congregation. So if you have change that you'd like to contribute, please raise your hand, and one of our bearers will be forward to find you. Right here. Around the side there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's sing them forward for a wondrous day of friendship and learning.
Go now in peace, may the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace, may the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. Carrots and broccoli just won't do.
All right, say it with me now. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. How many of you learned this rhyme as a child? I remember it as part of a host of rhymes that made the rounds through nursery school and kindergarten. One memory in particular is of a group of us holding hands and walking around in a circle reciting the old rhyme, and say it with me now. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. And we'd fall and we'd laugh and pick ourselves up and do the half dozen times more. Ah, those were the days. Now it would take me a moment or two to get back to my feet, if not a few friends to help me up. It would be years later, as I studied the history of death and dying, that I would come to realize that the nursery rhyme was about the Black Death in Europe. This would have been enough to sober me until I also learned that Mary, Mary, quite contrary was about Bloody Queen Mary. And her garden was a graveyard, and silver bells and cockle shells were allegory for primary means of torture. And the pretty maids, either Protestants killed by the Catholic Queen or her ladies in waiting, witnessing her barbarism. And then there's Baba Black Sheep.
Don't ruin everything for us.
Oh, I'm headed there. Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, 3 bags full. 1 for the master, 1 for the dame, 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane. London librarian and author Chris Roberts, whose book Heavy Words Lightly Thrown, The Reason Behind the Rhyme, chronicles the history of many of these popular rhymes and notes about this one that it deals with economic exploitation of peasant farmers in the 12th century. He writes, when the wealth of England was very much based on wool, and reminding us that the Lord Chancellor still sits on a wool sack in the House of Commons to remind everyone about that. Baba Black Sheep was a lament from the farmers of England, who in the rhyme are represented by the little boy. The other 2 figures in the rhyme, the master and the dame, are the king and the church. The local nobility would collect revenue on behalf of the king, and the dame is the church. So you have these very punitive tax rates of 66%. A third to the king, a third to the church, and a third left for the farmer. It's an early example of no taxation without representation. What an ingenious way to shape a narrative. At a time when open rebellion or criticism of the king, the queen, or their representatives, not to mention the church, could mean imprisonment or torture or death. The creative use of allegory tied to a simple rhyme scheme and often set to a simple tune. A mnemonic device that would rehearse a history for generations hidden from the scrutiny of those that it mocked. Been thinking a lot about this over the past couple of weeks. So have you. So we've witnessed a different kind of narrative spectacle with our president appearing as Jesus healing the sick, as a doctor healing the sick. And our Secretary of Defense, who has turned from his work to preach from the lectern at the Department of War. And let me just say this out loud so that I can get it out of me, right? His interpretation of Pharisees is so antithetical to the history of the text that it makes me cringe, right? When the Pharisees showed up while Jesus was healing the man with a withered hand, guess who they represented? Political authority, religious authority. weighed against the creative capacity of those who knew persecution, these crass, meme-ready, blatantly anti-papal, cringe-worthy images and words become all the more ridiculous. The onslaught of social media memes and the late-night television caricatures was predictable, as was the outrage and swift reaction from so many who found both the president's picture and Hegseth's words at least blasphemous and at best clueless. If it wasn't funny, in a very tragic sense of the way, we might pause to consider that such antics are also dangerous. History is replete with the tragic consequences of government striking out against or striving to co-opt the power of religion, and by such means to seek to marginalize and denigrate the most vulnerable, almost always leading to the tragic consequences of a country at war with itself or the very real possibility of genocide. To channel our energy toward a more constructive path of resisting such tendencies requires that we continue to expose the absurdity of such campaigns. And for this, I would have us return to the social action read that some of you participated this fall, a book that guest minister Alice Anacheka-Naisman also referenced when she spoke here a few months ago, Sergej Popovich's Blueprint for a Revolution. How many of you have read this book? A couple of you. Don't get ahead. In one chapter in particular, Popovich outlines the use of humor, which the author identifies with the strategy of laughtivism. I love that, laughtivism, as a fundamental means for creative resistance to authoritarianism. The author recalls a number of creative campaigns that openly challenge authoritarian regimes, leaving political powers often in a lose-lose situation to respond. Consider how that chapter opens. Pretend you are the police in Ankara, Turkey. Go ahead. A few days ago, security guards in one of the busiest subway stations in town spotted a couple making out on the platform. Strict Muslims, the guards were bugged by such immodest behavior in public, so they did the only thing they could really do, which was to get on the subway's PA system and ask all passengers to behave themselves and stop kissing each other. I really wanted to be there for that. Because everyone in Ankara has smartphones, this little incident was leaked to the press within minutes, and by afternoon, politicians opposed to the ruling Islamicist-based party realized that they had gold in their hands and started encouraging their supporters to stage a huge demonstration to protest this silly anti-smooching bias. This is where you come in. On Saturday, the day of the demonstration, you show up in uniform. You're the police. Baton in hand, ready to keep the peace, walk into the subway station, and you see more than 100 young men and women chanting anti-government slogans and provoking your colleagues. Someone shoves someone loses their cool. Soon it's a full-blown riot. If you're seriously playing along here, it's probably not hard to figure out what to do. You're a police officer, and you're probably spent the whole week at the academy training for such situations like this. It's what police all over the world do. So you move in, you get into formation, you put up your riot gear, and you start to thump your baton on your shield to intimidate the crowd. But you probably don't feel too bad about it. You're only doing your job. Besides, you're just protecting yourself and your fellow cops from flying stones or whatever else the people decide to throw your way. And you move in, and it takes about an hour, maybe two. There are 30 or 40 protesters in jail, 10 or 20 are in the hospital, and the rest have run away. You return to the precinct house, drink your coffee with your buddies, and go to bed feeling content with the day's work. That was easy. Now let's play it again. It's Saturday morning. You arrive at the subway station. There are more than 100 people there protesting against the censorious announcement from the day before. but they're not saying anything against the government. And they're not shouting or chanting. They are kissing each other loudly, making these gross, slurpy sounds no one likes, drooling and giggling. There are almost no signs to be seen, but the ones you do notice have little pink hearts on them that read, "Kiss me," or "Free hugs." The women are in short-sleeved, low-cut blouses. The men have their button-downs on. No one seems to notice you. They are all too busy holding each other's heads as they suck face. What do you do now? Go ahead and game it out if you like. But let me save you the trouble. The answer is that there is nothing you can do. It's not only that the amorous demonstrators aren't breaking any laws, it's also that their attitude that makes a world of difference. If you're a cop, you spend a lot of time thinking about how to deal with people who are violent. But nothing in your training prepares you for dealing with people who are funny. Then there's the thumping barrel with a smiling Slobodan Milosevic painted on its side, placed in a busy intersection in downtown Belgrade with a baseball bat and a pretty sign that read, "Smash his face for just a dinar," which is about 2 cents in American currency, U.S. currency. After a while, it was slow to start. One young man comes over and spies the barrel and the bat and slowly places his dinar in it and takes a swing. The echo was for blocks. And everyone turned around to notice, and all of a sudden, a line begins to form. You know, all of those people dressed to the T's with their shopping bags and long coats. Children with their families, standing in line, waiting to take a whack at the barrel. When police arrived, they had a choice: make a scene arresting families and children and shoppers, or take the barrel away. And all this while being filmed by the people who placed the barrel there, who had retreated before this all began to a cafe across the street to video it, sip coffee, and laugh hysterically. Then there's the time in 1982 when the people of Swidnik, a small town in eastern Poland, took their television sets for a walk in wheelbarrows and baby carriages. It was a protest against government news agencies and their smiling announcers with fancy haircuts reading government-approved scripts that were ridiculously rosy and absolutely full of lies. The author writes, "It was a great gag, and the practice soon spread to other Polish towns. Flabbergasted, the government weighed its options. It couldn't arrest anybody. There was no law specifying that Polish citizens were prohibited from placing their television sets in wheelbarrows and walking them around. All they could do was move up the curfew from 10 to 7 p.m., forcing everyone indoors. This, they were certain, would stop the shenanigans. Oh no. It didn't. Like any budding comedian, Popovich writes, who gets a taste of the audience's applause and it's hooked on for life, the Polish resistance wanted more on a bigger and flashier display. It was getting more and more difficult, though, with the communists now on the lookout for any sign of civil disobedience. So by 1987, with a slowdown, with the dictatorship growing more and more inevitable, they decided to stage their biggest joke yet. They would take to the streets en masse to display their absolute and manic love for communism. In October, as the government celebrated the 70th anniversary of the Russian Revolution, Solidarity announced it would stage its own commemorative rally, adopting the bombastic language of communism. It printed brochures calling on the people to break the passivity of the popular masses. Come to the square, it ordered the faithful, and wear red. Soon the streets were filled with red shoes and red scarves and red ties and red lipstick and red shirts and red coats and red pants and so on and so on. They were all like extras in a bad Soviet propaganda film made the Poles laugh. The authorities, on the other hand, weren't amused. It was obvious that the red-clad marchers were mocking the regime's ideology. But how could the communists break up a rally in support of communism? The police positioned themselves on the sidelines, waiting for any excuse to act, and finally, when a few people who didn't have anything red to wear, and take this as a warning, didn't have anything red to wear, asked a nearby food stall for a breadstick smeared with ketchup to wave around. The police pounced, apparently, shutting down the stall and arresting one of its customers. It was the best they could do. And by 1989, the opposition succeeded in instituting semi-free elections. And by 1990, it was in power. My favorite example, which Popovich describes, is the Great Siberian Toy Protest. As Popovich describes it, in the infamous Russian region whose soil is rich with, whose people are poor, is home to one of the most accomplished groups of hilarious activists. They didn't start out that way, writes the author. In 2012, with Vladimir Putin once again winning election and the Russians' small and omnipotent oligarchy tightening its grip on the Kremlin, a number of Siberian supporters of the opposition, encouraged by video evidence of election fraud, applied to the town of Barnaul for a permit to protest Putin's rigged victory. The authorities refused. Not wanting to break the law and risk arrest, the activists applied again for the permit, and again they were denied. So it went a number of times until finally even the most idealistic of the bunch realized that they would never be able to stage a demonstration in town. But their toys could. One freezing day, imagine Siberia in February. The activists gathered in the center of town with all of their children's favorite playthings. They had 100 figurines collected from the popular candy toy combo, the Kinder Surprise Egg. They had 100 Lego people, 20 toy soldiers, 15 plush animals, 10 model cars. The toys were all carrying tiny signs. The penguins cried out against corruption, the moose denouncing electoral malpractice. The Kremlin directed bureaucracy decided to put an end to these childish protests once and for all, and in a local paper, the government informed the public that congregations of inanimate objects would be considered against the law. This got me thinking. What if we turned that old nursery rhyme, Mary, Mary, quite contrary, on its head? What if we took a plot in our garden, here and at home, and arranged a plant protest? Daisies for democracy is what I hear in my head. Furthermore, what if those who were interested took that effort back into their homes? I'm imagining the herb garden in front of my own house with a small sign like "Basil backs democracy" and "Sage advice, stop the war." The oregano plant telling the world, now spice up the economy, stupid. And time for a regime change. It seems to me that Earth Day could take on another level of meaning as an annual act of resistance as well as reverence. It would take cleaning up to a whole other level of consciousness, wouldn't it? Popovich writes, "I knew very well that humor doesn't just make you chuckle. It makes you think." And I propose, and for this, we continue to be grateful. So I propose a new nursery rhyme. Tyrant, tyrant, quite defiant, how does your country fare? With rising fears and wasted years and lies afloat on air, but seeds still hide on old truth's side, protected in the ground. Our hands unite to steadily fight and turn the world around. Tyrant, tyrant, quite defiant, your antics sway no more, for roots push through what despots do, and hope again will soar. Daisies for democracy! Amen. And blessed be. Where is our beloved president? Would you come share news of yesterday? As an intro to our offertory, I would like you to hear a report about our distribution yesterday. And you can decide if it's good news or not.
As you all know, this congregation hosts the Loaves and Fishes Food Pantry one Saturday a month. We serve 3 zip codes and some others. So keeping in mind that this is just one portion of this city that is in need and comes here to get food, under the direction of Betsy Wood. And if you don't mind, I will just read what Betsy said to me. Okay. A group of many volunteers gets together to serve a certain number of households. When I first started doing this during the pandemic, it was on a bad day, 50 families would need food, and it was a good day because we were able to help them. Yesterday we served 100 families with, it was 94 at close, but then people came after we were closed and we were able to serve them as well. We had 16 new families come. Almost every month, that's about the number of new families that need help and come to us. And there was another statistic. I think it was about 4,300 pounds of food that we distributed. And also keeping in mind that those 100 families are not 100 people. Those are 100 families that include many small children. I think the number that we end up using the most often for families is between 4 or 5 and 6 person families. So, do the math. So, we were able to help them, and as I said, after everybody shut down, people still came, and we still were able to either give them some food that was still out or some gift cards. So we were able to help this community a lot. Obviously, this is growing, so in the future, I'm pretty sure we'll be standing up here telling you it's more than 100 families, but the good part is we're able to help them. So thank you all for your support.
And I want to add this. If you think that coming to a food pantry is an experience of austerity and sadness, think again. Because when you walk in here on the day of distribution, there is a radio playing in the front hallway. There is dancing. There are smiles. People are checking in with each other. Volunteers are making certain that those they heard about last month are continuing to not only get fed, but find the resources they need. Small children are being coaxed into behaving because of the presence of crayons and coloring books and small stuffed animals. And I say this to you because I think that it would be a misnomer to say all we do is distribute food. For many of the folks who benefit from this, This is an opportunity to experience community in a way they don't get to do in any other place in their lives. That is because of you. That is because of your continuing contributions, both financially and with your time and your treasure in this place. But more importantly, it is because of the atmosphere that you continue to grow here. That people, some in the worst moments of their lives, can come and regain a sense of humanity and humanness and contextualize those troubles in a way that provides them with strength and courage, sometimes with raucous laughter. You think that what you heard in this sermon is all about revolution. Well, I tell you, it is fundamentally about rebuilding community. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for continuing to do that. And I want you to consider the offertory that we're about to take up in service to that ongoing mission of this place, so that we continue to not only serve those in need, but to remind them that they are part of something larger than themselves and that they are truly loved. May our offering be received. Anyone have a joy after that? Really? Really? Okay. Because thank goodness I got to preach first. That's all I have to say. Honestly. I know you have a joy. You've got plenty. But we do come to this time in our service when we're given an opportunity to pause and consider what's deepest in our hearts, or most profoundly on our minds, or in the work of our hands in the days that have transpired, or in the prospect of days to come. Joys and sorrows that touch us deeply and are given another measure of meaning because of our capacity to share them in the midst of a company that claims us as a co-journeyer. So I invite those of you who have joys or sorrows to form lines on either side of the sanctuary to come and speak briefly into the microphone, telling us first who you are so that those using our automated auditory devices might also participate in this important ritual, and then to light a candle if you so desire. Or if you're online and you would like to have a joy or a sorrow included during this important time in the service, please place it in the chat. Proceed by the words, please read, so that we can find it quickly and share it during this time. If you'd like me to read a joy or sorrow, you're welcome to bring it up to me on a card as well. Joys and sorrows.
My first joy is just my colleagues here, Maria and Krista. Thank you so very, very much for joining us. The second is, for the offertory, I played a song called Anniversary. It was my and my wife's anniversary this past week. 47 so far.
Yeah. Got you.
Hi, I'm Cheryl. I'm your retired minister of whatever I do.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry.
I love this man. I have a joy that is reflected in my sorrow. My nephew came up from Oklahoma to visit the family. And I was just getting out on the other side of this flare, and I was feeling strong, so I volunteered my husband and I to be his taxi and take him to see everyone in our family. And now I can't walk. But Jaron Stewart is the drummer for a band called Love Kills Theory, which is playing tonight. So if you like rock music, it's in Cambridge. Talk to me later. In the meantime, thank you for holding me through my wobbliness. I'm coming back.
This is my security blanket. So for those of you who don't know, first of all, my name's Beth Posner-Waldron, and roughly a little less than 3 months ago, I fell during a ski lesson. I wasn't actively skiing, which I did that 9 years ago and really wiped out and tore my ACL and other things. But anyway, this time I just fell, and but I fractured the anterior tibial plateau, which is basically the top of your shin bone underneath my knee, and then I couldn't bear any weight on my right leg because I would have then had a deformed knee. So anyway, my orthopedist negotiated with me when I said, I can't not weight bear for 12 weeks because I have to go to Iceland with my mother. So she said, all right, I'll let you go sooner than that. I can get you walking if the x-rays look okay midway. And so that happened. And everybody should go to Iceland to recuperate from a fracture because, you know, I started walking, and then I was walking more and walking more and walking more, and now there's no more fracture, and I'm allowed to walk without the brace and do activities as I can tolerate, and I have deep appreciation for flamingos, you know, who stand on one leg for a lot of time, and also, you know, when I was in sour grapes and whining, I had to have a reality check periodically and say that this is just temporary because, you know, I've got loved ones for whom, you know, it can go up and down or can only get worse, but you know, I'm getting better. And I was emotional about being here anyway, because I'm an extrovert, and I was so excited to be here. And, you know, and then what did you do? You know? So I've got extra Kleenex if anybody needs them.
As all of you know, this is April 19th. The Battle of Lexington, I grew up in Lexington, started. The American Revolution began. So that's what I have to say.
Yay, that's good. Thank you. Yes, we got it.
Should I say
Yeah,
it again?
no, you were fine. You were good. Yep.
Hi, I'm Ali. So I had one joy to share, but then I have two joys. Thank you so much. That was lovely. It was beautiful. So my other joy was I've been doing the food bank for about 1.5 years, and I really wanted to echo what Aaron said. It's an amazing group of volunteers, and I've gotten to know so many of them, and it's a great experience to go there. But I also wanted to share that as you're giving out the food, you have certain foods that are usually there, and there are some foods that just don't go. People don't want to take them. Raisins. I'm looking at you. So when someone comes through and they're like, "Oh, I like raisins," I'm like, so I'll take huge handfuls, and so I'll do that with certain foods if someone wants an extra or whatever, and just the smiles that you see from people, it just sticks with me, and just the joy and the happiness that we can bring to them is it really makes my day to go there and do that. So I just wanted to share that.
Hi, I'm Mary, and first I want to say I really like the rewrite of that because that's one of the things I was tormented with as a child. Oh yeah, you can hear my lovely voice. I've had the worst allergy attacks I have had in my adult life in the last week, probably precipitated by cleaning out an attic and a basement, a house that I've lived in for 25 years, which is on the market. We won't say anything more about that because I don't want to jinx anything there. However, I did close on my new place on Friday. So if I wasn't tormented enough by that, I'm moving to Sterling. Mary had the little lamb. I don't know why I do this to myself, but anyway. So more to come in a couple weeks.
Hi everyone, I'm Vicki, and I have some joys. I have to say that was so great, and so what I say to myself when something like happens to me, a friend of mine, she recommended that instead of keeping a gratitude journal, like at the end of the day or the first thing in the morning, is to throughout the day say, good things keep happening to me, and it changes kind of your mind shift over time. So I was sitting there thinking, good things keep happening to me when you were singing, so thank you so much. But the reason I got up to tell you, one, my husband and I celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary this week. So it's 30 years. We didn't know that would happen, but here we are. And the other thing is, I don't know if you remember, those of us who are people who are my age or roughly, I remember when I was a kid and you wanted to get a job, and like as a server in a restaurant, say, you would walk into a couple restaurants, and if you were clean, presentable, looked like you might be punctual and honest, you'd get a job. My daughter, who moved to Chicago in January, has a wonderful waitressing resume. Actually, she's worked in a 5-star restaurant. She has captained shifts. She has been through college. She did waited tables at a restaurant that gave her wonderful recommendations. She moved to Chicago and has not found a job waitressing. This is the job market. And there are adults who look like me working in those jobs instead of young people. I mean, she's not a teenager, she's 24, and couldn't get a freaking waitressing job just to keep body and soul together right now. Anyway, people are nodding like you know this already. Anyway, she got a job. So, thank you.
Good morning. I'm Vivian Borick, and I have a joy, but I'd like to know more who can receive this, and you can either raise your hand or nod, but it has to do with if you keep your house and it's full of stuff or if it's spartan and orderly like the magazines. So mine is full of stuff. Does any of you have a full of stuff house? Okay. I don't know about the rest of you, but this is mostly for you. I mean, I don't think it'll be a waste of time. I promised to donate my mother's wonderful 5-year diary where she really depicts life in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, in a mill town in the late 30s, early 40s, with amazing skill and heart, and it's my soul of my mother. And I told the Rhode Island Historical Society that I also had a picture of a whole bunch of people getting off at a bus in 1941 as an outing. And they love to have this original photograph of 100 people in the bus, but I couldn't find it. And I couldn't find it when I was packing for my move, and I couldn't find it when I unpacked. And I want to give this work. This week I found the photograph, and it's an 8-inch by 27 format. And it's got about 100 people. My mother and her sister are near the roller coaster. So the roller coaster of Crescent Park is there. That's near Riverside. It used to be the Coney Island of the North. And these are 100 people, women dressed in stripe patterns, floral patterns, solid colors. About 10 children, boys and girls. Some of the women also wear hats. The bottom says Cumberland Worcester. That's the name of the mill factory, the mill, outing at at Crescent Park, August 2nd, 1941. I'm so relieved to have found this because it's part of what I wanted to give, what I feel in this place of history for people who want to have a sense of those who came before us. And it was in one of my photo boxes, completely rolled up and safe. And now I can feel, I don't have to worry about having it dealt with by my niece and nephews after me. And it goes with the diary that Rhode Island Historical Society likes to have whatever I donate in a package. So I can't just give one thing, to my dismay. I have to put everything together. But this photo is part of my promise and their curiosity. And really, I noticed I was very joyful when I found it. So I wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I don't want to touch that, I'm going to break it. My name is Raina, and I've been talking to you all about a couple different things. A group that I run here that hosted a swap yesterday, and I wanted to just take a moment to say thank you to everyone here, and also the community and elsewhere. It was really successful. We had a lot of families come in. Not only the adults, but a lot of the kids got in on shopping and being able to pick some really cool stuff. And for people in the LGBTQIA community, that's pretty special to see. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. It was really successful, so thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Dawn Dowd. I have the honor of sharing our joys and sorrows for our online community. Laura Lenahan writes, hello from sunny Florida. So blessed to be here with my parents, surprising Mason with Legoland tomorrow. Hi, Uncle Randy. Love the color of your shirt. Stephen Murphy and Erin Morell, right? It's been a joy having weekly family dinners with my sister-in-law, nieces, nephew, eldest brother, and mother. Last night, we also got to watch a live stream of hatching ducks, a reminder of rebirth and new seasons.
Let us be in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life, source of our inner and outermost being, we come today with laughter, reminding ourselves in a world that is full of serious issues and lots of hurt, that healing comes in the form of joy shared, comes in the form of communal bonds, the smile that accompanies friendship, the kind word that accompanies care. Help us realize today that we are capable of being more than the world anticipates of us, where we can turn challenges into opportunities, where we can remind each other of our humanity in the midst of our most desperate moment, where we can come alive because we hear angelic voices sing to us possibility. Amen. And blessed be. To turn to your responsive reading found on the back of your service insert. In every age, voices of power have tried to shape the world through fear and conformity. History tells us that many gardens have been places of tyranny, a warning about the consequences of power unchecked.
Yet we also remember in the lines of history a whisper of possibility that a different kind of cultivation is possible.
When the world asks us to obey without question, to accept injustice as inevitable,
We choose to be quite the contrary, planting compassion where cruelty has been sown.
when history repeats its harshest lessons and the present moment feels heavy with echoes and shadows of the past.
We commit to tending a new garden where truth, courage, and imagination grow.
So we ask again, how does your garden grow?
With open hands, brave hearts, and a stubborn hope that even now another world can bloom.
Would you please join together in our closing hymn found in your teal hymnal, number 1058, and please rise in body or in spirit. Be wise, religion, Go forth and sow. Go now, contrary souls, and you know who you are, into the fields of your world. Carry with you the tools of mercy and imagination. Where you find barren ground, plant kindness. Where you see weeds of despair, water them with courage until they bloom into justice. May your hands be filthy with compassion, and may kindness color your nails. A sign of your heart's steadfast rebellion against all that diminishes life. And may the spirit that calls gardeners from tyranny's shadow guide you to keep sowing and laughing, even when the soil resists. Amen. Blessed be. Once again, beloved, worship in this place has come to an end, but our service continues, first with minuscule announcements. Small, tiny, very, very small. Okay.
Hi, my name is Drew Wilkin. And the men's group had an excellent hike yesterday, Purgatory Chasm. One concern that I had, and that is that one of our group brought a female along, right, David?
A four-legged female, if I remember correctly, though, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay.
So you'll see pictures in the announcements that come across. The women's getaway, what weekend is that?
May 1st.
May 1st. Okay. The men's group is planning on getting together at an arcade locally. Look for information in the emails. If you're not part of the email group, please let me know, and I will try to get your name on there. Thank you.
It's all right.
Minuscule,
No, you're
minuscule.
good.
As I mentioned, the swap yesterday was hosted and run by Massachusetts Rainbow's Families, and we're a group with, thanks to Aaron and the board here, have allowed us to meet here at the church once a week. We're a group of LGBTQIA2S+ families consisting of with or without children. And again, we meet once a week for a couple hours just for social connection in a safe space. And so if you're interested in that, I'll be at coffee hour briefly, and you can come up to me and I can make sure you get all the information you might need if you would like to join us. Yes, absolutely, and we can speak about that afterwards in coffee hour, for sure. Come up and we'll chat. It is not, but we can chat afterwards for sure. Thank you, everyone.
All right, folks. It's time for refreshments and conversation.